If the employees puts a problem, the management should have the openness to confront it. It's not confrontation, fight we are not talking about, confronting the problem. Then trust. Trust in each other. We must trust our employees, just as the employees also must trust the employer. If you go through the industrial climate of this particular country, including the banking climate of this country, say for the last 40 years, you can say all these three things were sometimes found missing. How many strikes have happened in India? In all the industries, irrespective of the industry, you will find strikes have happened. Very, very important facilities. If an octopus culture was in place, I'm sure some of the strikes could have been averted. And proactiveness, a very important word to be used. Proactive. Mostly it is reactive. In many organizations you will find invariably there is a fight for bonus. You take the place of a country, a city like Mumbai, come Deepavali, there will be plenty of strikes only for claiming their bonus. Situation has changed, but in many cases situation still continues. Proactive. Why can't the management, knowing fully well there is a need for bonus for celebrating certain festivals, why can't they be proactive in giving? If some management is proactive in giving, then sometimes the employees are not receptive in accepting. Whatever may be the point, proactiveness is important. Then autonomy. Give autonomy to staff members. It cannot be micromanaged. This is the time of delegation. We want people to be developed. So the HRM should focus on actually not merely managing people, but also developing them, about which we will speak later. Then collaboration. Employee is a partner. In many organizations it has been said they are treating their vendor as partner in anything. For example, IT. Even though IT is a vendor, IT provider is a vendor for us, but we integrate him as if he is a partner. You take the IT vendor away from our operations, we may not be able to function at all. So if we can treat our vendors as our partners, why not our employees as our own collaborators, our own partners in business? If it is happening, well and good. The very fact of HRM subject is discussed is because such good ideals are not actually put in practice. That is why the theory of HRM and the practice of HRM, as bankers, as on the one side employees of different institutions, you can go back and reflect. While hearing it, you can reflect as to where are the gaps existing. If no gaps are existing, you should be happy about it. You see, what we want in a setup like this is that there should not be any gap in regard to such aspects. And experimentation. And people should be allowed to experiment. Experimentation is something which people are afraid. Innovate, experimentation is not encouraged in many of the places. Why? When you experiment, you will fail. Take the case of children at home. We allow our children to experiment with many things, and they make many mistakes. They may even put some laws to us, but still we will say, he is learning or she is learning. No, let him experiment with it. I have seen now people, allowing their children to handle sophisticated computer equipments. Sometimes we may feel that, the child may break it. But the new generation parents are not worried about it. They say, let them explore, let them experiment. But when it comes to organizations, I think we are still not permitting experimentation. So friends, another important thing from the examination angle, it may not be directly relevant, but questions can come on any one of these in a different manner without mentioning octopus. But if you understand octopus well, I am sure our day-to-day dealing in office with customers and life itself will undergo a dramatic change. Having covered this aspect of octopus culture, where each one is self-explanatory by now, let us see what is the HRM trend as of now. These two words are used, HRM and HRD. Till recently, mostly the aspect was HRD, Human Resource Development Department. In the last 15 years, last 15-20 years back, It used to be Human Resources Development Department, HRD department. Human Resources Development Department, HRDD. Now that has come to HRM. So what is this difference or distinction? Now there is a school of thought which says HRM encompasses the HRD also. So it's a larger function, human resource management. But at the same time another school of thought says HRM only talk about managing the resources but not actually development thereof. Whatever may be the difference of opinion, it is felt still that the HR function is still only managing the human resources. From that, confined to routine functions, appointment, promotion, leave sanction, placement, it is not actually looking into the developmental aspect. Till recently, the training and other things used to be done as the management felt. The personal department sent a person for training, irrespective of the fact whether he desires it or not. The person may be working in such a department, he may not be able to use that particular training, but sometimes such people are sent for training. What does it happen? It is not because they are keen about developing that individual. The training has to be developed. So the training function is taken as an independent silos. HR development is still not fully attempted at many places. Now what is seen, even you may be aware in your own banks probably, the employee is given an option to say that which training he or she wants. There are some organizations, they give sabbatical within, I am aware of some banks where they are given a break of 1 or 2 years with full pay, that they are allowed to go and pursue their own qualifications or aspirations. Now that is what is called development, individually. Asking the individual what you want, in what area you want to specialize, asking the employee where you want to work, and wherever it is possible, if it can be accommodated, its desire and organizational goal will be matched. When both these things come together, if they, supplement it, complement it properly, then I think the organization stand to benefit. New acts and guidelines are issued to ensure that staff interest is protected. Even as late as 2013, new guidelines have been issued to ensure that the staff welfare is taken care of. So human relation management is not a one-time, a policy, that it will continue to evolve. The new problems which has come up in organization, work environment, we did not think about it 20 or 30 years back. Today more and more people are coming to employment, and it has created new challenges for the employers. So new acts and guidelines are issued to ensure that staff interest is protected. As you are also reading the paper, you must be knowing what are all the new issues which have cropped up in the Indian scenario and even in the world scene. Now let us finally, as you know, as it must have seen in other modules also, MCQ, multi-choice questions will come in your examination. Some statement like this: rational economic view is referred to as equity theory, scientific management, human relations model, need hierarchy theory. So the right answer also I have put it. I don't want you to tax it. But how you can answer a question like this? After all, you have to pass the examination, for which you must get this answer correct. For that, you must read the courseware thoroughly. Courseware must be read line by line and underline important areas like this. If you come across a new term like rational economic view or something like scientific management, you please underline it, because there is a potential for asking an MCQ based on that. That is the purpose in mentioning it. Let us take the next question. Identify true statement from the following. There are 4 statements have been given. Identify true statement. Sometimes it is mentioned identify the true statement, or sometimes identify the 4 statements are given here. Wage, salary and remuneration all mean the same. The reward linked to the performance generally improves the motivation level of employees. It is not necessary to give market linked wages to employees. They may otherwise continue because of lack of alternative jobs. Uniform wage structure helps in improving the performance. All these statements may look alike. Some of these statements may be right also, So in HRM, there is nothing like finally right or wrong completely. It is right and wrong. You should be able to identify which is most appropriate. You can also say uniform wage structure helps in improving the performance. In all these years, if you go through, it used to be only uniform wage structure. Take the case of banking industry. It was uniform for everybody. So, in a particular cadre. So that may be also correct, but from the examination angle, it has been the reward linked to performance generally improves the motivation level of employees. Generally, we are not saying that it is always. So this is how the questions are put, and you should understand in a practical manner which is more appropriate. Which is more appropriate. That is why these questions have been shown. Now, let us see what we have covered in this particular module. And it's a HRM has evolved over 2 centuries ago. It has taken 2 centuries to come to this particular situation. Is it a satisfactory situation? Is it the finality of it? Will there be further development? Well, it is not the finality because we are dealing with human beings. Human mind is still evolving. What has been found even thousands of years back, it has been mentioned, the mind is still evolving. So when we are dealing with such an evolving being, naturally the rules and regulations also will be evolving. So we are happy that we have reached a level like this, and continuous improvement and focuses are taking place, and you can look forward to further improvements in the days ahead, where the employees will be the centerpiece. At many places, the HR is yet to take root. That is unfortunate. There is always said that if you don't learn from the history will get repeated. So I hope in regard to HR it won't happen, that we will learn from the history that treating the employees has its own good rewards. Companies examples like Infosys and examples from State Bank of India, Maruti, and now from HCL and L&T and so many companies to show, treat the employees well, it will pay dividends in the long run. It has largely influenced the shift in HR policy. IT has influenced. We must thank IT for everything. Even to receive this lecture at home, it is IT which is facilitating. Just imagine 20 years back, there was nothing called video lectures. There was nothing like shooting like this and putting it across. So remove the IT, well, we will go back to our nomadic days actually. So IT has largely influenced the shift in HR policies. They have been a game changer. Not only our functionings have changed, but our HR inputs have also changed. Only good HR will help companies to grow in future. Let there be no doubt about it. If the HR is not good, people will not remain. In the new generation, where people are coming with a lot of aspirations and with a lot of opportunities, if the HR does not rise to the occasion, that institution will have to pay a heavy price. So the sum and substance of funda of HRM is that, let us go back to the first quote, that do unto others what you want others do unto you. That means let us treat people fairly, then they will also give proper response to the organization.